Good evening, one and all. Got a little something to say here about having a tool, or one of the tools that I carry that I've carried for a long time, traveling around the United States. I think it's a good one. If you're going to be a vagabond or you're going to be homeless, I'd highly recommend getting yourself an entrenching tool. This is a small shovel that was used by soldiers in World War I, World War II, still in use, I believe, in Russia. It's for digging trenches, is why it's called an entrenching tool. It can also be used as a fighting tool, in a trench, as a last ditch weapon, but it's not something you want to be your main weapon in a trench or otherwise. But that is its use in war. In the civilian world, it's really good for digging holes, and specifically when you need to use the bathroom. For health and sanitation, for being a good human being, for leaving no trace, for all the reasons you need to dig a hole and bury your stuff. And that doesn't mean picking up a rock or a log and putting it on it. It means digging a hole. It needs to be at least 6 inches deep. Doesn't need to be super wide. But you need to dig a hole and then cover it up when you're done. Another good thing about having an entrenching tool when you have to use the bathroom outside, if you're on flat ground, it's a little awkward squatting sometimes, particularly if you've been hiking and you're dehydrated. You're going to get cramps while you're trying to use the bathroom. Squatting, it can be not fun. But if you got this, you push it into the ground behind your hole, and you can use it as kind of a little crutch or little something to hold on to. Give yourself a little better balance and not stress your legs as much when you're tired and sore and everything else. It's also good for making a campsite. There's a lot of things involved in making a campsite that you could use it for, but the main one I would say I use it for is making flat ground. I normally sleep in a hammock. I do sleep on the ground sometimes for various reasons, and when I do, I like it to be flatter than not. So it's nice having a shovel. It can, you can almost always find somewhere that's flat, but it might not be a good spot. Whereas if you have a little shovel, you might find a good spot that's not really flat, but then you can make it flat, and now you have a flat good spot, and you can get a good night's sleep or not get busted or whatever. So it's a good thing to have. Yes, it can be used in self-defense. No, you don't want to be using it for self-defense for obvious reasons. Generally, you don't want to have to be doing self-defense at all. You're less likely to have to use self-defense if you've got this handy while you're walking through downtown San Francisco, let's say. Most people trying to prey on other people are looking for easy targets. And this makes you a little less of an easy target. But it's not something that you want to be hitting people with unless it's absolutely positively necessary. And I've lived on this street since 1996 with a 5-year break in between. So 25 years or something around there I've lived outside. And I have had to pull it out a couple of times, get it in my hand. but I've never had to swing it at somebody, not once. There's times I probably could have legally and still didn't. I got a funny story I'll tell you sometime. That I did swing at a car with it one time, but the guy tried burning me with a torch and stealing my stuff, and he got wrecked. I barely touched him. That's a good story, but you can't hurt somebody with it. So if you ever have to use it in self-defense, it better be a lawful use of lethal force, because this isn't a love tap kind of thing. So if you are going to carry one of them, I highly recommend you be a very stable individual emotionally, somebody who's not looking for a fight. Because if you're looking for a fight and you start pulling this out, you pick a fight instead of just being forced into a situation where you feel like you're going to die, but you are out puffing out your chest and talking smack, and you end up hitting somebody with it and hurting them, you're going to go to prison. So make sure that you got your head on straight before you carry something like this around in your backpack or on your hip or anything else. But it is handy. I highly recommend it as a tool for being a vagabond. So far I've covered a Sharpie marker, permanent marker, and an entrenching tool. The other main tool I carry, obviously I have a pocket knife. I also carry a silky saw, a folding silky saw. Very sharp, very, very sharp. Not something you want to be using for self-defense. It absolutely could hurt somebody very seriously or fatally. It is not something that I keep handy. I'm not using it for self-defense unless it comes down to it's me or them. But I carry it. I carry it for wood. I carry it for trees. I carry it to get a branch out of my way so I can hang my hammock, or firewood in the very rare circumstances that I make fires, which is very rare due to fire danger. Not something you normally can or want to be doing outside right now, out west. I'm a West Coast kid. Fire's dangerous. Even if you do it everything the right way, you're gonna upset people if you're lighting fires out west right now. If you're in a rainstorm in coastal Oregon in the winter, different story. I'm in Southern California right now, and while the fire danger isn't high, people are touchy about it with good reason. But in an emergency, or if the conditions are just right and I feel safe and I feel like I'm not going to get thrown in prison for it and I'm not going to upset all the neighbors, and it's perfectly safe, I have a way to cut wood. But mostly I use it, I'll make tarp stakes out of sticks. Just little stuff. I've made shelters with it before, when my tarp ripped up or whatever. So definitely handy to have a saw, definitely handy to have an entrenching tool, and you definitely need to have a Sharpie, a big fat one, or something similar, big fat marker, to communicate with people. That's it for this one. If you have any questions, comments, want to make fun of me, want to tell me I'm awesome, there's a comment section right down below. I'd love to hear whatever you got to say. And if you got any ideas for me, put them down there. I'd love to tell you what I think about it, or give you some advice. The best advice is don't be homeless. But if you are going to do it right. Being homeless doesn't mean waking up every day searching for dope to make the pain in your spine go away. It can be a whole different thing. You can make a whole different experience out of it. So be good. God bless all good people. Peace to the peaceful. And push all the buttons if you don't mind. Like, subscribe, share, throw a comment. Thanks.